guys, this is the Monday morning gentle movement session. Usually we run this at 7 AM and I had one participant today and we were very chatty, so I thought I'd re-record it just so that we could move through the movements without any interruptions when you watch this back. So this session will only need really maybe a cushion if that's what you like to sit on. We'll be mostly sitting or standing. There's one lying down, two lying down exercises, so you will need a mat. I think I'm going to manage without the cushion today. We're going to start in a seated position. Obviously, if you have any health issues, then it's your responsibility to make sure that you've accommodated for those. So any other props or bolsters that you need, and just listen to your body. So if you're feeling uncomfortable in any of the positions, then make sure that you don't stay in those and that you adapt or stop the movement. So like I say, we're going to start in a seated position. I'm going to take a cross-legged position. I've got my socks on today, but it's okay if you want to be barefoot. We do have some balancing exercises. So starting with connecting with the breath, you can place a hand on your chest or on your stomach or both. And we're going to close the eyes and just take 10 breaths. So we're not changing the breath, we're just noticing where the breath is going to. So you can choose to breathe however is normal for you, maybe through the nose, maybe through the mouth. And just focusing on the breathing, movement of the hands. Not changing the breath, we're just noticing. Does it go to the stomach? Does it go to the chest, the ribs? We're going to take maybe 2 more breaths here. And when you're ready, we're going to return back into the room, so open the eyes and hands nice and relaxed. They can either be resting on the knees or, if it feels comfortable, on the floor. You could have them in your lap. You could even have them on your hips. Now we're going to move on to some shoulder movements. That's why we need to be sitting to have a nice stable base. So we're going to use the breath in each of the movements to elongate the spine, and then as we move into a position, we're going to exhale. So if we're rotating, we would exhale as we move into the rotation and then come back to elongation. In this instance, we're actually going to be shrugging our shoulders up to our ears. So as we breathe in, we're elongating our spine. So we're going to bring our shoulders up to the ears as we breathe in. And then as we breathe out, we're going to bring the shoulders back down. So let's do 5 of those. So breathing in, shoulders up to the ears, and breathing out, shoulders down. Two more. You should feel this in nice relaxing areas like the neck, the shoulder blades. As you exhale, last one. Really make it count, and then breathing out to relax. Now we're going to adjust the movement this time, so we're going to repeat exactly what we've just done before, bringing in, as we breathe in, bringing the ears up, bringing the shoulders up to the ears. But then as we breathe out, we're going to bring the left ear to the left shoulder. So we should feel a nice gentle stretch along the neck, not forcing the neck, we're just allowing the head to kind of drop to one side. And then as we breathe in again, Shoulders up to ears and then out, right ear to right shoulder. So let's do 2 more on each side. Breathing in, shoulders up, breathing out, ear to shoulder on the left side. And then shoulders up as we breathe in, right ear, right side, as we breathe out. Last one. On either side, shoulders up, left ear, left side, as we breathe out. Shoulders up as we breathe in, right ear, right shoulder as we breathe out. And then we're just going to kind of come back to centre and then allow our head to kind of move around a little bit if it helps. Just waking up. So now we're going to do a movement that will help us to warm up our shoulders. We have the ability to squeeze our shoulder blades together and then move them apart. What we want to do, what I'm going to show you, is this from side on. So we're sitting upright and we're bringing our hands out in front of us as fists. And with our shoulders nice and level, we don't want to bring the shoulders up to the ears. We want them resting away from the ears. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together as though we're pulling maybe something towards us. And then, so we're breathing in to do that. And then as we breathe out, we're going to push the fists away. So you should feel a stretch across the shoulder blades. And we're going to repeat that maybe 5 times. So squeeze the shoulder blades together as we breathe in, and then push the shoulders and the fists away as we breathe out. 4 more. Together, breathe in, and then out. So we push them away. Shoulders, you want to try and get your shoulders as far apart as possible. We're not slumping, we're just pushing our shoulder blades apart. Together, 3, and out, and away. Together, breathing in, and away. That's 1. Breathing in. Shoulders together, breathing out, shoulder blades away. And then should be feeling nice and warmed up in your shoulders now. Going to shake those shoulders. So the next movement will be very similar. I'll show you from this angle and then again from the side. Is cat-cow. So you're probably familiar with cat-cow if you've done exercise with me before. It's more focusing now on the upper spine. So if you can place your hands resting on your knees. If you're kneeling, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you can come to kneel. That's fine. You might want to sit on a cushion or kneel on a cushion. You can bring your hands just to rest on your thighs for this. So actually I will move side on so that you can see. So we are in this instance going to use the breath to push the chest up and forwards. So we want to see an arch in the upper back. We're not curving the lower back, we're just focusing on the thoracic spine, so the upper back, breathing in. And then as you breathe out, bring the chin to the chest and then push your chest backwards. So as you exhale, you want your spine to arch in the opposite direction. And then breathing in, bringing the chest forward. You might even bring the gaze upwards a little bit and then breathing out, chin to chest, and then the back goes back. Breathing in again, let's do 2 more. And then out. Hollow out the chest, push the shoulder blades apart and the spine backwards. That's 1. Breathing in, chest forwards, and then breathing out. Push backwards. Okay, lovely. And then we'll come back to a Now a standing position, so I'm going to adjust the camera just so that you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So you'll need to stand with your feet are roughly a little bit wider than hip width apart, and we want the toes to be pointing out, and we're going to bend the knees so that they come to rest over the heels. And we don't want them quite at necessarily 90 degrees, although if that's more comfortable for you, you could take a slightly wider stance. But the toes are pointing out and we're lowering down so that our knees are over the heels. And obviously, if you've done any yoga, you will know this stance is a goddess pose, but we're going to modify it a little bit for a spinal twist. So we're going to bring the hips a little bit further back and bring the body forward so that we're leaning over the floor in front of us and placing our hands as support on the heels. We're going to take a deep breath in, so we're elongating the spine forwards. And then as we breathe out, we're going to drop the right shoulder down a little and look over our left shoulder. So we're trying to twist the spine from the neck all the way down to the lower back. And then breathing in, we just want to take in some deep breath. And then as we exhale, we might try and twist a little bit further. You should feel a nice rotation in the spine. If this is heavy on your shoulders, then you can do this movement more upright and then cross your arms over your chest and rotate if you can tolerate it. Lean forwards, you've got strong hips. But ideally you have your hands resting on your knees. So we're going to try that on the opposite side. So taking a nice deep breath in, elongating the spine, and we're leaning forwards and then keeping the spine fairly straight but just rotating. We're dropping the left shoulder down and looking over the right. Let's take 2 deep breaths here, elongating the spine with a deep breath in and then twisting a little bit further as we breathe out. And then as we breathe out on the last breath, coming back to the starting position. We're going to do that again one more time on each side. So deep breath in and then out. Right shoulder comes down, left shoulder looks over the shoulder, left shoulder looks over the shoulder, left looking over the left side, left shoulder. Couple of nice deep breaths. Elongating the spine, twisting a little bit further on the exhale. And when you're ready, you take a breath in to come back to the middle. And then as we exhale, left shoulder comes down, right, we're looking over the right shoulder. Getting my lefts and rights mixed up a bit today. Deep breath in to elongate. Nice long exhalation to rotate a little bit further. Only go as far as your body allows you. Don't force it. It's a nice relaxed early morning practice. Okay, and when you're ready, take a nice deep breath in to come to the middle. Maybe an exhale. And we can actually just lean forwards just to touch the floor. You want to give your legs a little bit of a rest. Wiggle your bottom in the air. And then when we come back up, just make sure you're breathing in just to support the spine. And when you're at the top of this movement, you might like to just elongate your spine up with a breath in. And then as you exhale, just push your hips forwards a little bit. Open up the space just here. Stretch out the muscles at the front of the thighs and the hips. And then you can come back to a standing. So I'm going to squat down so you can see me. So that was more of a yoga type stance, the goddess pose. But we're going to do a movement now that's very similar, looks very similar, but is quite different energetically or in terms of how much energy you use. In Chinese martial arts, there is a stance that we use called Mabu, which means horse stance. So it's very similar with a wider than hip width foot positioning, but instead of the toes being pointing out, they point forwards, and they're probably a little bit closer together. So we were here, we're now maybe about here. So just wider than shoulder width, and toes are pointing directly forwards. And what we're going to do initially is we're going to connect with the breath. So if you place your hands either hand on heart or hand on chest and stomach, or you can place both your hands on your stomach. And we want to just close the eyes for a moment. We're going to take about 10 breaths here, and we want to notice where exactly our body weight is shifting. So are we swaying while we're breathing? Are we swaying forwards and backwards, left to right? Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. You might notice that you move forwards or backwards when you take a breath in. Maybe the opposite direction when you breathe out. Okay, and before you open your eyes, I want you to try and control your movement of your body, your centre of mass, so that it rests over the midfoot. So rather than, you don't want to be lifting your toes, you don't want to be lifting your heels, you want to shift your weight so that it rests somewhere in between those two, somewhere over the arch of the foot. And then lowering, I want you to allow the hips to sort of relax a little on the knees and just lower your centre of mass. So you can open your eyes to do this, but it does help to have your eyes shut if you can focus on the sensation in your feet. Lower your body, just take your time, and you can allow your knees to, they don't need to be turning out so that your knees are directly over your heels like we did with goddess pose. Your knees can be nice and soft and relaxed. This is a martial art form kind of movement, so you want to be ready to dissipate forces. So what we're going to do here, you might already feel the muscles working in the legs. We're going to stand here for a few breaths and we're going to test our endurance. So in Marabou stance, we actually bring our arms out in front of us so that your hands are roughly at shoulder height, and try to keep them nice and relaxed. That's the test. Can you keep your shoulders relaxed? Can you use as little energy as possible to keep your centre of mass over the arch, the midfoot? And we're using a nice calm breath, 10 breaths. You can feel muscles working in your thighs. That's good. Try not to let it interfere with your calm mind. Just going to turn side on so that you can see what this looks like. So maybe got 3 more breaths here. You're doing great. Last breath in. And then out. Okay, so I'm going back to stand. That probably felt quite intense on the thighs. So you can come down to the floor and just kind of move around a little bit, or you can stand and shake your legs out a little bit, whatever feels good. We're going to have another go at that in a second. So normally when you come into this position, you'd start from standing and you would jump into Marabou. And then when you exit the movement, you'd jump again and you'd be drawing your hands towards you. So it's up to you how you want to enter the stance, but we're going to take this Marabou stance up again. So if it helps, again, you can place a hand on the stomach or the chest and just try to close your eyes and connect with the movement, sway the centre of mass over the midfoot. I want to be not on our heels, not on the balls of our feet, but somewhere in the midfoot. And then once you've got it, try to lower the hips. Knees can be nice and soft, ready to dissipate any external forces. We're bringing the arms out in front. Mind over matter, 10 deep breaths. 10 calming breaths rather. Try to keep focused on the task at hand. Mind should be focusing on the sensations in the body, breath. Don't get caught up in the day yet, it's not happening yet. Let's take 3 more breaths here. You can do it. Last breath. And then we're out of Mabu. Just give your legs a shake. A moment to relax. And then we're going to come to sitting and lying, then lying on the floor. So the next movement involves being on our fronts on a mat. So I'm just going to adjust the laptop so that you can see how I'm doing this movement now. So on your mat, you can lie on your front. And we want your arms to be resting, palms up by your side. And if you can get your feet quite close together, they don't have to be heel to heel, but we don't want them very wide. And what we're going to do is called it's a version of a Siddhman, or if you're into yoga, we might call this locust pose. So we're just going to take a nice deep breath in, and as we do, we're lifting up the chest, we're lifting up the feet and the arms. And we're holding here for 5 breaths. And each time you breathe in, let's try and bring the chest a little bit higher. Maybe we can bring the thighs off the floor. Last 2 breaths, bringing the chest up. How high can you bring it? Last one. Breathing in. And then as we breathe out, we're coming to rest on the floor. Rest the head, the arms, the legs. Take a moment to catch your breath. Reset. And then we go again. So, take a nice deep breath in, lifting the chest, the legs, the arms. 5 deep breaths. If you can go any further up, lift the chest up on the breath in. Maybe the legs a little further. Next breath in, can you bring the legs any higher off the floor? Last 2 breaths. Last breath in. Let's get the chest away from the floor. And then down, relax. We're done with that one. Okay, so once you've had a moment to catch your breath, turn onto the side and we're going to turn to our backs now. So we're going to do a kind of opposite, well, it's the same kind of hip extension position, but we're actually going to be activating the hamstrings and the glutes lying on our back. So this is called glute bridge or bridge pose in yoga. So coming to lie on your back, we want to bring the feet close to the hands. So that means bending the knees to less than 90 degrees if we can. It's okay if your feet are a bit further out. If you can't touch your heels, it's not the be all and end all. We just want to have enough traction with our feet to lift our hips off the floor. So lying on our backs with our feet flat and hands, palms pressing into the floor. As we breathe in, we're going to tilt the pelvis so that the hips start to lift off the mat, and then lifting each vertebrae one by one as we breathe in and expanding the stomach. Let the breath go to the stomach. We're going to shift the hips up so that we're just on our shoulders. If you need to scoop your shoulders underneath and put your shoulder blades underneath you, you can. I'm going to stay here for 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and then exhaling, we're going to come back down. So vertebrae by vertebrae, returning to the mat, and then finally the hips. And then take a couple of breaths, and we'll repeat again. So next repetition, we're going to lift from the hips as we breathe in, and then each individual vertebrae until the hips are as high as they can go. You can scoot the shoulders underneath, scoot the shoulder blades together. We take 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax down, or rather lower down, vertebrae by vertebrae, back to the mat, hips back to the mat. We'll do one more of these. So breathing in, pelvis tilts, hips lift, one vertebrae at a time, lifting from the mat until our hips, so our knees and our spine are parallel. Scoot the shoulders under if you need to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower, vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep control of the movement until your hips are on the mat. Awesome. Okay, so that's all the hard work done. We're going to turn onto the side and then return to a sitting position when you're ready. So hopefully you feel a bit different to when you started. So we're going to end this session just with connecting again with the breath and just noticing how the breath is moving in and out of the lungs. So you can rest your hands on your knees, you can have them in your sort of lap, or either a hand on the chest and or the stomach. And we just want to be noticing, where is the air going? Is it going into our stomach? Is it going into our chest? Can we feel it in our ribs? So if you want to, if it feels comfortable, you can just close the eyes for a moment. And we're going to take about 10 breaths. We're going to just notice, where is that breath going? You can breathe through the nose or the mouth. Is your breath fast? Is it slow? Is it smooth? Does it judder? If you find your mind wandering, just gently bring it back to focusing on the breath. Take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, you can open the eyes and come back into the room. So that marks the end of this session. These sessions are available every week on Zoom for free. I hope that you'll come and join us live. I do have a Patreon page where I'm offering more regular classes, so if you want to check that out, you can find that via my Facebook page and the website move-well.co.uk. If you have any questions, please do drop them into the comments below, and I hope that I will see you very soon.